The Taliban took over Afghanistan's capital city Kabul after the Afghan government collapsed, bringing a bitter end to America's longest ever war. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani fled the country, abandoning the presidential palace. On August 17, the Taliban took complete control of the country. In a matter of just weeks, the Taliban that refers to itself as the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan reversed history. Maulana Abdul Ghani, the co-founder of the Taliban, was declared the new Afghanistan President.
Afghanistan political leaders gave up and fled the country. The Afghan military collapsed, sometime without trying to fight. If anything, the developments of the past week reinforced that ending U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan now was the right decision. American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
So what exactly happened and how will this change things for India? Earlier in April, US President Biden had announced that US troops would be pulled out of Afghanistan. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries like the UK said that they would follow, and troops started pulling out from May onwards. When the US evacuated the Bagram Air Base in the middle of the night, which also happens to be the main base of military operations, the Afghan troops were left on their own. Between 13 April to 14 August, Taliban increased its control from 20% to 60% of the country by taking control of 10 major provincial capitals. Nobody anticipated a collapse of this magnitude, and what awaits the future of the country can only be imagined. Quoting Dealing with Taliban, India's Strategy in Afghanistan After US Withdrawal by Rudra Chaudhary and Shreya Shinde, this is hardly desirable for a country like India. Indian assets in Afghanistan have been targeted by the Haqqani group. India has also been able to invest in Afghanistan's future partially because of the presence of US-led troops and the relative stability it brought. With this stability at risk, India needs to urgently reposition its priorities. Matters are expected to create important shifts in the geopolitics of South Asia, and particularly for India, considering the country's border disputes and historically tense relations with both Pakistan and China. India refuses to speak to Taliban publicly, asserting that the Indian government does not engage in conversations with terrorist outfits. According to an article published in a mainstream newspaper, 3 major reasons are most likely to affect India's decisions. Firstly, securing Indians in Afghanistan, whether professionals, diplomatic staff, or religious minorities. Their safety is a major concern. Second, strategic assets. India has major investments in Afghanistan like Chabahar Port, Zaranj-Dilaram Highway, military equipment like Air Force Mi-35 Hind Attacker helicopter, and the Salma Dam. These account for an investment made worth hundreds of millions. Having no communication with the Taliban may as well suggest that these investments are likely to go to waste. Third, threat of radicalization. India cannot ignore the threat of terrorism, given that the situation is extremely volatile at the moment, with the Taliban supporting anti-India terror groups. According to an article published by a New Delhi-based daily, Taliban had previously warned India against military intervention. The Taliban spokesperson had expressed that India has to remain impartial between the Afghanistan and Taliban governments. If India wants to have a symbiotic political discourse with Afghanistan, its choices remain scanty, in view of regional peace and global geopolitics in Southeast Asia.